Hello, and welcome back to the Fallen Tree. We're just starting the second season here on YouTube. Got just over 1,050 subscribers in the last year. And if you're new to us, feel free to click subscribe. If you've been watching for a while, thanks for coming back and joining the journey. So this season we're going to continue throughout the summer working on the off-grid man cave / cabin. See, last year we got a lot done. We got some of the siding up, starting to look like something out here. I'm going to put an addition on the back of it this year, maybe get started on the door to nowhere and making a bridge or a porch to bridge the gap in between the upper section and the door. You can see we had a lot of storm damage this year. Got to clean out the pond. I had a tree that was dead on the edge right here. And we're going to get that tree cut down. Get all these branches cleaned out of the pond as soon as we get the ice off. But today, I want to get the sawmill up and running for the first time, which is first step is going to be cleaning off some of the debris that's fallen through the year and then get the cover off. Now, I haven't been out at the cabin too much over the winter. The older I get, the less I seem to like to be out in the cold. I've found some inside hobbies, started doing some wood turning, been working on the flooring for the cabin, which if you watch us, you know we're going to be making some red oak flooring, tongue and groove I've been working on. So far it's looking pretty, but it's a continual process, and little by little we'll get it done. So the first thing we'll do is we'll get this thing uncovered. See if we've had any mice living in it this year. Normally every year I get spooked by a mouse starting to weasel its way out of there as I'm uncovering it. And this is usually where they startle me, right here. Usually in the lower left-hand corner where I'm uncovering here, there's a bunch of mouse house. This year, surprisingly enough, there's nothing. But I like to open it up anyways. I like to kind of turn the blade. My next step's simply going to be getting it to the correct torque. I like to get it to 22 pounds. Seems to be the magic number for me. When I first bought it, they said 25. That seemed too tight. We'll put in a little bit of fresh gas here, which isn't the easiest with the trailer package. You have to kind of climb up on it. I use a 1-gallon gas can to pour it in. I bought a small transfer pump to do it, a little battery operated one. I just never really got around to using it. This seems to do its job, and I'm happy with it for the most part. So one of the first things I do every year and periodically throughout the year is to take my laser and start checking the bunks. Sometimes after the thaw and freeze cycle throughout the year, there's a little bit of adjustment. I haven't moved the mill since last year, so there shouldn't be too much adjustment to it. So far, I'm about halfway down, and the mill hasn't moved at all over the winter, which is a good sign. When I end up getting down here to the end, I see about 1/8 of an inch of adjustment that needs to be done. So we'll get it cranked up a little bit, get it all leveled out, and ready to make our first cuts of the year. To me, this is exciting. Haven't been out here all winter and really miss being out here in the woods. Right now it's middle of February, a little towards the end. and it's just starting to warm up in my area. So it's time to crank it up for the first time. And as you can see here, things aren't going as smoothly as they normally do. Usually it takes me 1, maybe 2 pulls on this to get it started all summer. This initial start took me 10 pulls. Still not horrible, but it really had me scared there for a second. I wasn't sure what to expect. So the next thing is to make sure that the blade engages when I pull the throttle. In this case, it didn't engage at first. If I give the blade a few turns, then right at the top of the motor, that's where the throttle is. Give that an extra little push, and you'll see the blade will start on up. Adjust the water, and it's time to bring over the first log. This is going to be a yellow poplar I cut last spring. So after getting it loaded up with the tractor, we'll get it pushed over in place, and I'll take a few measurements. I want to see how it sits on there, if one end's a lot bigger than the other. In this case, it's pretty close to 15 inches the whole way. There's not a lot of taper to it. If I had an end that was a bit smaller than the other end, I would jack it up half the distance. So we'll get the blade adjusted here and make the first cut of the year. As I start taking the first cut, I notice I forgot an important step to me. That's my bucket from my deflector that I made last year. I don't want a lot of sawdust to clean up this year, and that's just an easy way of collecting it and placing it where I want it rather than where the mill wants it. And the first cut's going smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep flipping it, cutting one edge at a time, keeping it nice and square. If I have to, I'm going to keep a couple pieces and resaw them to use as much of the material as I can without going to waste or to firewood. The last thing I want to do is to waste a tree's life and not use it to its full potential. So let's see what size cant we can get out of this 15-inch poplar. So this 15-inch log ended up turning into a 10.5-inch cant. Okay, so at this point, I got my cant made. I've got 2 pieces of wood that I've got it 1 by that I'm going to have to resaw, square up the edges. Right now it's just live edge. I could leave it like that. But this is probably going to be siding of some sort. So I'm going to go ahead and square it up now. Then I've got these pieces here. I'm literally just going to take and cut into firewood. These are going to be slabs for the fireplace. So normally, I'd use my cordless circular saw to cut these into firewood. But I have my chainsaw out here, so I'm going to make some short work of it. So next time we come back, we're going to get that cant cut up, and I'll show you how I dissect it to make the most out of every cut. So feel free to subscribe, like, share with your friends. Let me know what you think, or have any great ideas that I might be overlooking. Thanks for joining the journey. Until next time, my friends.